right, say it a couple of times. All right, you got that down? Okay. So, all right, there was a time. I'm not going to spell all of this out. Now, what does that come out of? There was a time in my life. There was a time in my life you've broken in, you've listened to their hurt and their pain, and you are now connecting with them in where they're living because you used to live there. All right? And you're going to help them bridge to the rest of your testimony. And you're going to do it with just 2 words of where you were. There was a time in my life when I was, what's an adjective? A descriptive word. I want each of you to think now of 2 descriptive words. You might come up with 8, that's fine. Put those in your belt like David had 5 stones in his belt. You're only going to need 2 of them at a time. All right, got it? All right, but you're going to use 2 right now. I want you to think of 2 adjectives that describe your life before Christ. Think of it right now. Think of those. You might want to write them down. Okay, now, I want you to share those with your buddy and start out with, there was a time in my life when I was 1 and 2. Turn to your buddy and start out from the top. There was a time in my life. Okay, good. All right. All right, listen up. Listen up. All right, I just want to hear from some of you. All right, there was a time in my life. Somebody stand up and give me, there was a time in my life, and give me your 2 adjectives. Somebody just stand up. Stand up nice and loud. There was, all right, start out with there was a time in my life when deprived and alone. Somebody else. Stand up. Boy, you guys really needed to get saved. So glad we're doing this today. Boy, I wasn't that bad. No, I was terrible. There was a time in my life. Go ahead. Anxious and fearful. Oh, how many people in our society can relate to what those adjectives right now? Fearful, anxious, suicidal, depressed.
There was a time in my life when I was angry and hopeless.
You were in the same camp as I was. Those are my 2 words. Okay, I was confused, hopeless, and angry. All right, there was a time in my life. Okay, somebody pray for him right now. Okay, there was a time, yeah. It starts with?
There was a time in my life where I was looking for a purpose and
all right, purpose and direction. Very good, very good. See, you're connecting, those 2 words are connecting you to a lost world because that's where you were. You were in that lost world. All right, now we're going to bring them to the transition. And the transition was, Jackie, and then I met Jesus. And then I met, turn to your buddy and say, and then I met Jesus. All right, you're doing good. Now take it with your buddy, take it from the top. There was a time in my life when I was, and then I met Jesus. All right, good. You got it from the top? All right. And when you met Jesus, what did he do? 2 words. He forgave you, and you decided to follow him. So there was a time in my life when I was confused and angry. And then I met Jesus, and he forgave me, and I decided to follow him. Just say that last part. I met Jesus, and he forgave me, and I decided to follow him. All right, from the top with your buddy. There was a time in my life, all the way through, he forgave me. Come on. Okay, we're transitioning. We're transitioning from where we were to where we are today. Now I want you to think of, now this is the good part. What has your life been since you met Jesus? He forgave you and you followed him. Two adjectives of your life since you've met Jesus. Think of those two adjectives. All right, think of them. All right. Anybody got one? Can I hear one? Yes. What's that? Stable and secure. What's that? Peaceful and rest. Hope and joy. Happy and glad. Okay. All right. Now I want you to turn to your buddy. Everybody got you two? We're going to take it from the top. There was a time in my life when I was confused and hopeless. Then I met Jesus. He forgave me. And I decided to follow him. And since then, my life has been, okay, go, do it with your buddy, the whole thing from the top. Everybody got it? 15 seconds. There was a time in my life when I was confused and hopeless. Then I met Jesus. He forgave me my sins, and I decided to follow him. Since then, I have joy and direction. Now, this is really important. You want to bring them into your testimony. You want to find out where they are to transition into a gospel conversation. The gospel conversation's already happened. You've broken in, and you want to ask them the critical question: do you have a story like that? All right, everybody say that with me. Do you have a story like that? All right, turn to your buddy from the top. From the top, let's go. You guys doing great. You're doing great. You're doing great. By the way, this tool opens up a gospel conversation in any language. Jackie and I have traveled in Italy and Spain back in April, and we were able to share the gospel with our entire family. And I'll tell you a few testimonies of that, at the end of the next tool. But this is very, very important because you're transitioning now. You've opened their heart up. You've entered in. You've connected with where they were. And you've brought them to where you are. And you've invited them to tell you where they're at. Do you have a story like that? Which means you're opening your heart up to listen very carefully to their response. Now, the responses can be all over the board. No, I don't. Yes, I do. Or I'm not interested. But we're going to give you the next tool, which is believing that they give you a positive response. We're going to then have the opportunity to share the gospel. Now, just before I asked you, right at the beginning, to share the gospel with your partner. And it can be complex, and it can be difficult, and it can be religious. And what we don't want to do is be religious. We want to talk to them in a way that, once again, they can connect with God's story. What did you just do? You gave them your story. You opened them up to hear God's story. What is God's story? It's the gospel. It's the good news. Josh, did you want to do anything with the 15-second testimony more than what we just did?
So,
Yeah.
is that okay if we do that? Just, okay. All right. So, you have gotten a few reps at your table, and we're about to get to his story, which is super important. Your story is awesome. His story is super awesome, right? And so we want to be able to tell that one. But what I want to make sure that you know how to do is that you've created somewhat of a cadence. So we're going to start. So let's just say Pastor Nicholas is at his table. And so Pastor Nicholas will look at Brother Ed, and he will look at Brother Ed and say, There was a time in my life when I was lost and broken. I met Jesus. He forgave me, and I now follow him. Since that day, my life has had peace and direction. Brother Ed, do you have a story like that? And then Brother Ed will say, well, shucky ducky, yes, I do. And then he's going to turn to Miss Monica, and then he will share his 15-second testimony with Miss Monica. And then he'll ask Miss Monica, do you have a story like that? And Miss Monica will go, well, yes, I do. And then she will turn to Miss Jackie and share her story. And you go all the way back to the table. And Miss Joy will then turn to Pastor Nicholas, and Pastor Nicholas will hear it last. So that makes a complete circle. See, typically what we do is we create 2 lines, and then we just rotate. That would be chaos in here. Yeah, it would be nuts. And so the way we're going to do it with our group today is this way. So just to get more reps, go around your table, everybody at the table sharing their 15-second testimony before we get to the gospel share. Take off, go. All right, how do we do? Yes? Yeah, give yourself a hand. Now, I must say, can I have your attention? I must say, I timed you. I timed you. Like, as a good trainer, I was like, we got to see how well we're doing at training. And I timed you, and I figured that, like, the largest table has about 9 people at it. You do 9 times 15, and I gave you about that much time. And you didn't do it in 15 seconds. All right? You didn't do it. You got too preachy, or you got too much hospitality. So, what we're going to do this time is we'll start again with Pastor Nicholas, but instead of going clockwise, this time at his table, they will go counterclockwise. And listen, if you don't do it in 15 seconds now, you don't get lunch. I'm so playing. No, I'm so playing. All right, here we go. Wait. Here we go. Silence. Shh. Silence. Now, I'm timing you, all right? I am timing you. If you don't do it, we're not going to kick you out of the church, but we might. I don't know. On your marks. You ready? Counterclockwise if you went clockwise last time. Clockwise if you went counterclockwise. Shh. Okay, yeah. So we're going to go around, and this time it's a limited amount of time. 15 seconds to do it. If you don't do it in 15 seconds, there's no consequences, but we'll daydream about the consequences, okay? All right, but the opposite direction. On your marks. Don't cheat yet. Don't you start. Get set. Go. All right, so by my estimation, most of you were able to figure out a beautiful, simple way to share your story in 15 seconds, right? Good. All right, so that was the first. Now we're going to do it in 10. You ready? On your mark. No, I'm so joking. All right. Now, this is super important, because what if they say, no, I don't? This is so funny. I've seen people be like, all right, have a good day. We don't want to be that guy. So, Brother Dennis, tell us what to do, brother.